Sarah walked through the long hallway of the Confederation Council building. Her soft shoes made no sound on the smooth metal floor. Around her, beings from hundreds of different worlds moved with purpose. Some had scales that shimmered in the artificial light. Others floated in bubbles of glowing gas. A few walked on four legs or slithered without legs at all. None of them looked at Sarah. To them, she was just another human. Humans were nothing special in the galaxy. They cleaned the stations. They fixed the machines. They served food at important meetings. For 200 years, that was all humans had done. Sarah reached the great chamber where the Confederation Council met. The room was huge, with seats arranged in circles. The most important species sat in the center. The Empire held the inner ring with their crystal bodies gleaming. Next came the with their flowing tentacles. The ethereal collective floated in the third ring, their minds connected as one. Humans sat in the outer ring, the cheap seats. Sarah took her place in chair number 847. That was Earth's position in the order of importance, dead last. Admiral I of the fleet stood at the center podium. His crystal form sparkled as he spoke. The situation is worse than we thought. The Devourers have taken the system. 3 billion lives lost in 12 hours. Fear rippled through the chamber. The Devourers were machines from beyond the galaxy. They ate planets and turned everything into more of themselves. For 6 months, they had been moving through Confederation space. Every battle against them had been lost. Our weapons cannot stop them, Admiral I continued. Their ships repair faster than we can damage them. Their numbers grow with every victory. General Ash of the species waved his tentacles. We have tried bioweapons. They adapt too quickly. What worked yesterday fails today. The ethereal collective spoke with one voice through their leader. Our mind attacks cannot touch them. They think as machines, not as living beings. We cannot break what was never alive. Sarah listened to the fear in their voices. These were the most powerful species in the galaxy. They had ruled for thousands of years. Now they faced something they could not beat. Admiral I looked around the chamber. We need new ideas, different approaches. Does anyone have suggestions? The inner ring stayed quiet. What could they say? They had already tried everything they knew. Sarah stood up. Her movement was small, but in the silence it seemed loud. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. Most looked surprised. Humans never spoke at council meetings. Yes, Admiral I said. His tone was polite but tired. Does Earth have something to add? Sarah walked down to the center of the chamber. Her steps echoed in the quiet room. She reached the podium and looked up at the hundreds of alien faces watching her. We would like permission to stop holding back, Sarah said. The chamber erupted. Voices rose in confusion. Some beings laughed. Others looked angry. Admiral I raised his crystal hand for silence. Holding back, he asked. What could Earth possibly be holding back? Sarah's face remained calm. We have been members of this confederation for 200 years. In all that time, we have been quiet. We have been helpful. We have done what was asked of us. Yes, Admiral I said. Earth has been a reliable member. You provide good services. We do, Sarah agreed. We clean your stations, we fix your machines, we serve your food, we are everywhere in your space, on every world, in every fleet, we see everything. The mood in the chamber began to change. Some of the aliens looked uncomfortable. General Ash leaned forward. What are you saying, human? Sarah smiled. It was not a warm smile. We are saying that we have been watching you, learning from you, studying you. For 200 years we have been very patient students. Students of what? The ethereal collective asked. How you fight, how you think, how you make war. We know the location of every military base in Confederation space. We know the design of every weapon. We know the weaknesses of every ship class you have built. The chamber fell completely silent. Admiral I's crystal body flickered with angry light. Are you threatening us? No, Sarah said. We are offering to help, but first you need to understand something. When Earth joined the Confederation, we were not weak. We were careful. There is a difference. Doctor stood up from the human section. He was an old man with gray hair and kind eyes. He walked down to join Sarah at the podium. "My name is," he said. "I am in charge of Earth science programs. For the last 50 years, I have been studying devourer technology." General Ash slammed his tentacle on his chair. "That is impossible. The devourers only arrived 6 months ago." Doctor nodded. "They only arrived here 6 months ago, but they have been active in other galaxies for much longer. We have been tracking them for decades." Admiral I stepped closer to the podium. "How could you track them? Your ships barely leave your home system." "Our ships that you know about," Sarah said. "The cargo ships, the mining vessels, the transport craft. Yes, those ships stay close to Earth, but we have other ships." The silence in the chamber was now complete. Every alien in the room stared at the two humans. Doctor pulled out a small device. He pressed a button. A hologram appeared above the podium. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked devourer positions. Green dots marked Confederation fleets. Blue dots appeared throughout the galaxy. There were thousands of them. "The blue dots are human ships," Doctor said. "They have been hidden in dead systems and asteroid fields for decades. They have been watching, waiting." Admiral I stared at the map. "This is impossible. We would have detected them." Sarah shook her head. "You would have detected ships using your technology, but we stopped using your technology a long time ago. We built something better." The map changed. The blue dots began moving toward the red dots. The movement was fast and coordinated. "The attack begins now," Sarah said. "By the time this meeting ends, the devourers will understand that they picked the wrong galaxy to invade." She looked up at all the alien faces staring down at her. "For 200 years you thought humans were weak. You were wrong. We are not weak. We are just very, very patient." Captain Lisa sat in the command chair of the cargo ship Determined Purpose. Around her, the bridge looked like any other human transport vessel. Old computers, worn seats, coffee stains on the metal walls. She had been flying cargo runs between Earth and the outer colonies for 15 years. Everyone in the galaxy knew her ship. They just did not know what it really was. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we are receiving a distress signal from station." Lisa looked at the message on her screen. Station was under attack by devourer ships. The station's defenses had failed. 3 million beings were about to die. "How far are we from?" Lisa asked. 47 minutes at full cargo speed," her navigator replied. Lisa smiled. "Good thing we are not carrying cargo today." She pressed a red button on her chair. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The bridge lights changed from white to blue. Hidden panels opened in the walls. New screens and controls emerged. "This is Captain to all crew," Lisa said into her communicator. "Operation Silent Thunder is now active. Battle stations." The Determined Purpose began to change. The cargo bay doors opened, but instead of containers, weapons emerged. The old engines shut down and new ones came online. The ship's hull shifted as armor plating moved into position. In 5 minutes, the slow cargo ship became something else entirely. It was now a stealth destroyer with weapons that could crack a moon in half. "Time to at combat speed?" Lisa asked. 12 minutes, Captain." Lisa nodded. "Signal Earth Command. Tell them the mask is off." Doctor stood in a hidden facility deep beneath Earth's surface. The room around him was filled with screens and computers. Hundreds of technicians worked at control stations. This place did not exist on any official map. "Doctor," one technician called out, "we are receiving activation codes from ships across the galaxy." Walked over to the main display screen. It showed the same galaxy map he had revealed to the Confederation Council. Blue dots were moving everywhere. Each dot was a human ship dropping its disguise. "How many ships are responding?" asked. 3,742 so far, sir. More coming online every minute. Smiled. 20 years of preparation was finally paying off. When Earth joined the Confederation, they had seemed like simple farmers and miners. But Earth's leaders knew better. They had studied galactic history. Every peaceful species eventually faced a threat they could not handle alone. So humans had prepared. They built ships in secret. They trained soldiers in hidden bases. They sent scouts to every corner of the galaxy. They learned everything about every species, every technology, every weakness. "Sir," another technician said, "Captain is engaging the Devourers at station." Walked over to that screen. It showed the battle in real time. The Devourer fleet had surrounded station. 15 massive ships were tearing the station apart. Escape pods fled in all directions. Then the determined purpose arrived. Lisa's ship moved like no cargo vessel ever could. It danced between the Devourer ships, weapons firing with deadly precision. Where Confederation ships used brute force, Lisa used speed and cunning. She hit weak points. She used the Devourer's own size against them. "Look at that," one technician whispered. "She is fighting 15 ships by herself." "She is not alone," said. He pointed to other blue dots moving toward. "Help is coming." On the bridge of the determined purpose, Lisa watched her tactical display. The Devourer ships were trying to surround her. Their machine minds thought in simple patterns. Surround the enemy. Destroy with overwhelming force. It worked against most species. It did not work against humans. "Maria," Lisa called to her weapons officer. "Target their communication nodes. Cut them off from each other." "Yes, Captain." The ship's weapons fired in rapid sequence. Instead of trying to destroy the Devourer ships, Lisa was making them blind. The massive ships began to move less efficiently. Without their hive-mind connection, they made mistakes. "2 more human ships just arrived," her scanner operator reported. Lisa looked at her screen. The cargo ship's New Dawn and Peaceful Journey had dropped out of hyperspace. Like her ship, they were transforming from innocent transports into deadly weapons. "This is Captain Torres of the New Dawn," a voice said over the radio. "Ready to assist." "This is Captain of the Peaceful Journey," another voice added. "We have their rear positions." Lisa smiled. "Welcome to the party. Let us show these machines how humans really fight." The 3 ships moved together like dancers. They covered each other. They struck where the enemy was weakest. They used tactics no machine could predict because humans did not think like machines. In 30 minutes, 15 Devourer ships were destroyed. Station was saved. Admiral I watched the battle from his flagship. His crystal form flickered with confusion and fear. How had 3 human cargo ships destroyed an entire Devourer fleet? "Admiral," his communications officer said, "we are receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human ships are engaging Devourer forces everywhere." Admiral I looked at his tactical display. Everywhere Devourers had attacked, human ships were appearing. Ships that had been hidden for decades. Ships with technology the Confederation had never seen. "How is this possible?" he asked. General Ash appeared on the screen from his own ship. His tentacles moved with nervous energy. "My intelligence officers are reporting something impossible. Humans have been building military bases in dead systems throughout our territory." "That cannot be true," Admiral I said. "We would have detected them." "Would we?" General Ash asked. "These humans have been cleaning our stations for 200 years. They have been fixing our machines. They know our sensors better than we do." The ethereal collective joined the conversation. Their shared voice sounded strained. "We have been scanning human minds for decades. We found only simple thoughts about work and family. How did we miss this?" Admiral I thought about that. Human workers were everywhere in Confederation space. They fixed the life support on his ships. They cooked food in the officer mess. They cleaned the floors and maintained the computers. They saw everything. "Sir," his intelligence officer called out, "I am detecting massive energy signatures from the Sol system." Admiral I looked at Earth on his screen. The small blue planet looked the same as always, but his sensors were showing something impossible. Huge ships were rising from Earth's oceans. More ships were emerging from hidden bases on Earth's moon. "How many ships?" he asked. "Hundreds, sir, maybe thousands." Admiral I stared at the screen. For 200 years, Earth had seemed like a quiet farming world with a small defense fleet. Now it looked like the most heavily armed planet in the galaxy. His communications officer spoke again. "Sir, we are receiving a message from Earth." "Put it on screen." Doctor's face appeared. He was still standing in his hidden command center. Behind him, hundreds of humans worked at battle stations. "Admiral I," Doctor said, "I believe you are beginning to understand the situation." "What situation?" Admiral I asked. "For 200 years you have seen humans as a weak species, good for simple work but not much else. You were half right. We are good at simple work, but we are also good at war, very good at war." Doctor gestured to the screens behind him. "Every human ship in the galaxy is now active. Every hidden base is operational. Every sleeper agent has been activated." Admiral I felt his crystal body grow cold. Sleeper agents. The cook on your ship, the janitor who cleans your bridge, the mechanic who fixes your engines. They are all trained soldiers. They have been watching you, learning from you, and reporting back to Earth for decades. The screen changed to show the galaxy-wide map again. Thousands of blue dots were now active. They moved with perfect coordination toward every devourer position. "The devourers made a mistake," Doctor said. "They attacked a galaxy under human protection. Now they will learn what that really means." General Santos stood on the bridge of the massive battleship New Horizon. The ship was 3 kilometers long and packed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. For 50 years, it had been hidden in a dead solar system, waiting for this moment. "General," her tactical officer reported, "the Devourer main fleet is approaching the system, 200 ships." Looked at the enemy formation on her main screen. The Devourers moved in perfect order. Every ship was exactly the same distance from its neighbors. Their formation was mathematically perfect. "How boring," said. "They fight like a computer program." She turned to her communications officer. "Connect me to all human fleet commanders." The screen filled with the faces of dozens of human captains. Knew them all. They had trained together for years in hidden academies. They had studied every alien military doctrine in the galaxy. "Ladies and," said, "the Devourers are about to learn why humans rule the battlefield. Begin Operation Chaos Theory." Captain smiled from her position. "Finally, I was getting tired of fighting fair." The human fleet spread out across space. Unlike other species, they did not form neat lines or geometric patterns. Human ships moved randomly, without any visible plan. To the watching alien observers, it looked like complete confusion. Admiral I watched from his crystal ship. "What are they doing? This makes no tactical sense." General Ash was equally confused. "Their formation has no structure, no coordination. How can they fight like this?" The answer came quickly. When the Devourer fleet entered weapons range, the human ships attacked from every direction at once. But they did not target the same areas other species did. Instead of hitting engines or weapons, humans targeted communication arrays. Instead of trying to destroy ships, they tried to confuse them. "Analysis," said to her science officer. "The Devourers are having trouble coordinating," came the reply. "Their hive mind depends on constant communication. We are jamming their signals and feeding them false data." Nodded. Other species tried to fight the Devourers with bigger guns or stronger shields. Humans had studied the enemy and found a different weakness. The Devourers were machines. Machines could be hacked. On his command ship, Captain Jake was leading a special assault team. His target was not a Devourer warship. It was a Devourer control node, a ship that coordinated other ships in the fleet. Boarding pods away, his weapons officer reported. Instead of trying to destroy the control ship, was sending soldiers to capture it. Human Marines in powered armor flew through space toward the enemy vessel. The Devourers had never faced boarding actions before. Other species fought ship to ship. Humans fought person to person when it gave them an advantage. Contact, Marine commander reported. We are inside the enemy ship. What happened next shocked every alien observer. The human Marines did not try to fight their way to the ship's bridge. Instead, they plugged devices into the ship's computer systems. Within minutes, the Devourer control ship began attacking its own fleet. Impossible, Admiral I whispered. They turned an enemy ship against itself. How? General Ash asked. Doctor appeared on their communication screen. Simple. We studied Devourer programming for 50 years. We found the codes that control their behavior. Change the codes, change the behavior. The battle continued for 6 hours. Human ships moved like ghosts through space. They appeared where the enemy did not expect them. They used tactics no other species had ever imagined. Most importantly, they adapted. Every time the Devourers found a way to counter human tactics, the humans changed their approach. They fought differently in each battle, learning from every encounter. Status report requested. Devourer main fleet is down to 60 ships, her tactical officer said. We have lost 12 vessels. Frowned, 12 ships was 12 too many, but it was better than the total defeats every other species had suffered. General, her communications officer called. We are receiving a message from the Devourer fleet. Put it through. A mechanical voice filled the bridge. Human ships, we do not understand your tactics. Explain your military doctrine. Smiled. The machines were confused. They could not process human behavior because humans did not follow logical patterns. Our military doctrine is simple, said. We do whatever works. That is not a doctrine, the Devourer voice replied. That is chaos. Exactly. The Devourers tried to analyze human tactics, but there was nothing to analyze. Humans did not use the same strategy twice. They made up new plans during battle. They took risks other species would never consider. In another part of the galaxy, Captain Sarah was leading a mission that proved human creativity. Her target was a Devourer factory ship that was building new warriors from captured material. Instead of attacking the factory, Captain landed her troops on a nearby asteroid. The humans used mining equipment to hollow out the rock. Then they filled it with explosives and launched it at the factory ship. The Devourers detected the incoming asteroid. Their sensors showed it was just a piece of space rock. They ignored it. When the asteroid exploded next to their factory, the Devourers finally understood. Humans could turn anything into a weapon. Captain to all ships, she broadcast. Factory destroyed. The enemy will not be building reinforcements here. Back on Earth, Doctor was coordinating the global war effort. His command center tracked every human ship and every battle across the galaxy. What he saw made him proud. Sir, one technician reported, human forces have destroyed or captured 40% of the Devourer fleet. Enemy advance has stopped. Any word from the Confederation forces? Asked. They are staying out of our way, sir. Admiral I said his ships will provide support if requested. Laughed. Support. We have been carrying this war by ourselves. It was true. While Confederation fleets had been retreating or hiding, human forces had been advancing. They struck at Devourer supply lines. They rescued trapped civilians. They reclaimed lost worlds. But the most important thing they did was think differently. Lieutenant Commander Anna was trapped on a planet the Devourers had invaded. Her small team of humans was surrounded by thousands of enemy machines. Any other species would have fought to the death or surrendered. Anna chose a third option. "Team," she said to her soldiers, "we are going to surrender." Her sergeant looked confused. "Ma'am, trust me." Anna walked out with her hands raised. The Devourer machines surrounded her team. They began the process of converting the humans into raw material for building more machines. But Anna had hidden a virus in her team's equipment. When the Devourers tried to process human technology, the virus spread through their entire planetary network. Within an hour, every Devourer machine on the planet shut down. "To Earth Command," Anna reported. "Planet liberated. Use the Trojan Horse Protocol." Admiral I received reports of the victory. "Trojan Horse Protocol, what is that?" Doctor smiled on the communication screen. "It is a very old human trick. Sometimes the best way to attack a fortress is to let the enemy bring you inside. You deliberately let your soldiers be captured. We let the Devourers think they captured us. There is a difference." Admiral I was beginning to understand something disturbing. Humans did not just fight differently from other species. They thought differently. Where other beings saw defeat, humans saw opportunity. "Doctor," Admiral I said, "how many of these tricks do you have?" "How long is a piece of string?" replied. "Humans have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We have learned a few things." The Crystal Admiral felt a chill run through his body. For 200 years, beings like Doctor had been quietly watching and learning in Confederation space. They had seen every military secret. They had studied every weakness. If humans could do this to the Devourers, what could they do to everyone else? Commander stood in the Joint Command Center aboard the human ship Unity. Around her, beings from dozens of different species worked together at control stations. For the first time in galactic history, every member of the Confederation was truly united. "Commander," the ethereal collective representative called out. Her name was, and her glowing form pulsed with excitement. "Our mind link with human tactical computers is working perfectly." Nodded. 3 weeks ago, this would have been impossible. The ethereal collective had never shared their telepathic abilities with other species, but humans had shown them how to combine alien minds with human machines. "What about the bioweapons?" asked. General Ash rippled his tentacles in satisfaction. "Your targeting computers have made our weapons deadly precise. We can hit Devourer weak points we never knew existed." Smiled. This was the real human secret weapon. Not their hidden fleets or their advanced technology. It was their ability to bring out the best in others. "Incoming transmission from Doctor," her communications officer announced. Doctor appeared on the main screen. Behind him, the Earth Command Center buzzed with activity. "Commander," said, "the Devourer superfleet has been detected. They are massing at the Nexus system for a final push toward Earth." Felt a chill. The Nexus was the center of Confederation space. It contained the largest civilian population in the galaxy. If the Devourers took it, 20 billion beings would die. "How many ships?" asked. 800, everything they have left." The Joint Command Center fell silent. Even with human help, the Confederation forces numbered only 300 ships. "We need more time to gather reinforcements," Admiral I said from his crystal ship. Doctor shook his head. "There is no more time. The Devourers will reach Nexus in 18 hours. Looked around at her mixed crew of humans and aliens. "Then we fight with what we have." Commander of the ethereal collective spoke. "Even with our combined abilities, we cannot defeat 800 ships with 300. Smiled. "Then it is a good thing we are not planning to fight 800 ships." On her command screen, she displayed a tactical map of the Nexus system. At its center was a massive space station surrounded by inhabited planets. "We are going to fight one ship," explained. "The Devourer command vessel. It controls all the others through quantum communication links." General Ash moved his tentacles with concern. "How do we identify which ship is the command vessel?" "We do not need to identify it," said. "We are going to make them tell us." The plan was pure human thinking. Instead of trying to outfight a larger enemy force, they would trick the enemy into revealing its weakness. 18 hours later, the Devourer fleet arrived at Nexus. 800 identical ships moved in perfect formation toward the populated worlds. Commander waited with the Allied fleet hidden behind Nexus Station. "All ships, maintain radio silence. Wait for my signal." On the lead Devourer ship, the hive mind consciousness analyzed the situation. Their sensors detected the space station and the surrounding planets. No defensive fleets were visible. "Victory is certain," the collective machine intelligence decided. "Begin planetary bombardment." That was when spraying her trap. "All ships, execute confusion protocol," she ordered. Suddenly, space around Nexus filled with false signals. Human electronic warfare ships broadcast fake fleet signatures in every direction. To the Devourer sensors, it looked like thousands of enemy ships had appeared from nowhere. The Devourer command ship immediately began broadcasting orders to the fleet. It had to coordinate responses to threats coming from all directions. Its quantum communication array worked at maximum power. "Got you," whispered. Her sensors locked onto the source of the command signals. "Target identified. All ships, attack pattern Alpha 7. The Allied fleet emerged from behind the station. Human ships led the charge, followed by crystal vessels and bioships. The ethereal collective coordinated their movements with telepathic precision. But they ignored 799 of the Devourer ships. Every weapon, every attack, every effort focused on one target, the command vessel. The Devourer fleet tried to protect their command ship, but human tactics made it impossible. Captain led a squadron of fast ships that danced around the enemy formation. They did not try to destroy ships. They just kept the enemy confused and separated. Doctor called over the communication system. "Are you ready?" "Project Silence is charged and ready," replied from Earth. Took a deep breath. Project Silence was humanity's greatest secret. For 50 years, they had been studying quantum communication technology, not to use it but to stop it. "Fire," ordered. From Earth, an invisible beam of energy reached across space to the Nexus system. It struck the Devourer command ship just as the vessel was broadcasting orders to its fleet. The quantum disruptor weapon did something no other species had ever imagined. It severed the connection between the command ship and every other Devourer vessel in the galaxy. The effect was immediate. 800 ships that had been moving with perfect coordination suddenly stopped. Each ship was now isolated, cut off from the hive mind that had controlled it. "It worked," gasped. Her telepathic abilities could sense the sudden silence where the Devourer collective consciousness had been. But was not finished. "Phase 2, she ordered. "All ships capture protocol." Instead of destroying the confused Devourer ships, the Allied fleet began boarding them. Human Marines led teams of alien soldiers onto each vessel. Their goal was not to fight, but to reprogram. Doctor had given them the tools they needed. 50 years of studying Devourer technology had revealed how to change their basic programming. Ships that had been built to consume and destroy could be turned into defenders and builders. "Commander," her tactical officer reported, "we have successfully boarded 112 enemy ships." "Excellent. What about the others?" 53 ships self-destructed when they realized what was happening. The remaining ships are surrendering." Felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The Devourer threat was over. But as she looked around the command center, she saw something troubling in the faces of her alien allies. Fear. Admiral I appeared on the communication screen. "Commander, we need to talk." "What about, Admiral?" "About what humans are capable of." Saw the real problem. The galaxy had watched humans defeat an enemy that had seemed impossible to stop. They had watched humans turn enemy ships against each other. Most frightening of all, they had watched humans cut off the devourer hive mind with a weapon nobody else knew existed. "Admiral," said carefully, "are you concerned about human military power?" "Should I be?" Admiral I asked. It was a fair question. Humans had just proven they could defeat any enemy in the galaxy. They had technology other species did not understand. They had been hiding their true strength for 200 years. General Ash joined the conversation. "How do we know you will not turn those weapons on us?" Looked around the Joint Command Center. Humans and aliens had worked together to save the galaxy. But now that the threat was over, old fears were returning. "Because," said, "we could have done that any time in the last 200 years. Why would we start now?" The question hung in space between them. Everyone knew the answer. If humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, they had already had centuries to do it. But knowing that did not make the other species feel better. It made them feel worse. Doctor appeared on the screen from Earth. "I can see you are all having uncomfortable thoughts," he said. "Perhaps it is time for humans to be completely honest about our intentions." "What do you mean?" Admiral I asked. "I mean it is time to tell you why we really joined the Confederation, and why we have been hiding our strength all these years." Smiled, but it was not a threatening smile. It was sad. "We have been protecting you, all of you, for 200 years." The revelation hit the command center like a shock wave. "Protecting them? From what?" "From yourselves," said quietly, "and from us." Ambassador Sarah walked into the Confederation Council chamber for the last time as Earth's representative. The great room was packed with beings from every corner of the galaxy. But unlike her first speech, this time everyone was listening. "Members of the Confederation," Sarah began. "3 weeks ago, we defeated the Devourer threat. Today, I must explain why humans hid our true capabilities for 200 years." The chamber was completely silent. Every alien present wanted to understand how they had lived alongside such a powerful species without knowing it. Sarah activated a holographic display. It showed Earth as it had been before humans joined the Confederation. Cities covered the planet. Massive ships filled the skies. The oceans glowed with the light of underwater cities. "This was Earth 400 years ago," Sarah said. "We had a population of 50 billion. Our technology was more advanced than anything in the Confederation today. We could have conquered the galaxy then if we had wanted to." Admiral I's crystal form flickered with confusion. "Why did you not expand? Why did you not explore space?" "Because we were too busy fighting each other." The hologram changed. It showed massive wars covering Earth's surface, cities burning, oceans boiling, continents cracked and bleeding. "For 2,000 years, humans fought constantly," Sarah continued. "We had the power to destroy planets, but we used it on ourselves. We nearly made our own species extinct." General Ash moved his tentacles nervously. "What stopped the fighting?" "We learned something important. Having the power to destroy does not mean you should use it. Having the ability to conquer does not mean you should conquer." The hologram showed Earth's recovery. Slowly, carefully, humans had rebuilt their world. But this time they had built differently. Cities were smaller. Technology was more carefully controlled. Most importantly, humans had developed new ways to resolve conflicts. Doctor appeared on the communication screen from Earth. "When we finally reached space, we had a choice. We could expand aggressively like most species do, or we could take a different path." "What path?" the ethereal collective asked. "The path of protection rather than domination." Sarah nodded. When we discovered the Confederation, we studied your histories. Every species here had followed the same pattern: develop space travel, expand rapidly, fight wars for resources and territory. Eventually, either achieve galactic dominance or destroy yourselves. She gestured to the assembled beings around her. You were lucky. You achieved balance before destroying each other, but you were vulnerable. Vulnerable to what? Admiral I asked. To threats from outside the galaxy. The Devourers were just the first. Our deep space scouts have detected 17 other hostile forces in nearby galaxies. Some are machine intelligences like the Devourers. Others are biological empires that consume entire star systems. The chamber erupted in worried voices. Admiral I called for silence. You knew about these threats for 200 years, he demanded. We did, Sarah confirmed. That is why we joined the Confederation, not as conquerors but as guardians. Doctor leaned forward on the screen. Every human ship you saw during the Devourer War had been positioned to defend Confederation space. Every hidden base was built to protect your worlds. Every sleeper agent was trained to help in a crisis. But why hide? General Ash asked. Why not tell us the truth? Sarah smiled sadly. Because power corrupts. Even the best intentions can become twisted when you have too much strength. She activated another hologram. This one showed human history from their worst periods, wars that had lasted centuries, empires that had enslaved billions, weapons that had poisoned entire worlds. We know what we are capable of when we lose control, Sarah said, so we built safeguards into our own system. What kind of safeguards? Admiral I asked. Doctor answered. Every major decision about using our military power must be approved by the Confederation Council. We give you veto power over our actions. The chamber fell silent. The most powerful military force in the galaxy was asking to be controlled by the species they had been protecting. Furthermore, Sarah continued, we propose complete transparency. Our ship locations, our weapon capabilities, our strategic plans, everything will be shared with Confederation intelligence. Why would you do this? The Ethereal Collective asked. Because we learned the most important lesson in the universe, Sarah replied. True strength is not the ability to destroy your enemies. It is the wisdom to know when not to use that ability. A young being from the species stood up in the back of the chamber. Ambassador, may I ask a question? Of course. If humans are so powerful, and if you have been protecting us, why did you wait so long to reveal yourselves? Sarah looked at the young alien. The question reminded her of her own daughter at that age, curious, trusting, willing to learn. Because we had to be sure this galaxy was worth protecting, Sarah said. We spent 200 years watching you, learning about your cultures, understanding your values. She gestured to the diverse beings around her. We watched the Empire choose diplomacy over conquest when they could have dominated their neighbors. We saw the species choose to heal damaged worlds rather than exploit them. We witnessed the Ethereal Collective share their knowledge freely instead of hoarding it. And the young asked. And we decided you were worth defending, not perfect but trying to be better. That is all anyone can ask for. Doctor smiled from the screen. Besides, we needed teachers as much as you needed protectors. What do you mean? Admiral I asked. Your species taught us things we could never learn alone. Mathematics helped us build better computers. Biology improved our medical knowledge. Ethereal telepathy showed us new ways to communicate. Sarah nodded. Humans are good at war, but other species are good at peace. We learned from you. The chamber was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Admiral I spoke. What happens now? Sarah looked around the room at hundreds of different faces. Some showed fear, others showed gratitude, a few showed anger, but most showed curiosity. Now we build something new, Sarah said. A true partnership between species. Humans will continue to defend the galaxy from outside threats, but the Confederation will help us remember why that defense is important. She activated one final hologram. It showed the galaxy as it could be, trade routes connecting every world, scientific stations studying the mysteries of space, exploration ships reaching toward distant stars. "We propose the creation of the Galactic Defense Force," Sarah said. "Human ships and alien crews working together, human weapons and alien wisdom combined." "What about command structure?" General Ash asked. "Shared leadership," Doctor replied. "No single species controls everything. Humans provide military expertise. Other species provide strategic guidance and oversight." Admiral I considered this. "You would truly give us control over your military forces." "Not control," Sarah corrected. "Partnership. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. Together, we can protect something worth protecting." The vote was unanimous. Every species in the Confederation agreed to the new arrangement. The age of hidden human strength was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun. 5 years later, a young cadet approached Ambassador during a tour of the new Joint Military Academy. The academy was built on a space station in neutral territory, staffed by instructors from every species. "Ambassador," the cadet said, "I have been studying human military history. You could have conquered the galaxy at any time. Why did you choose to protect us instead?" Sarah smiled. The same question, asked by a new generation. She looked out the station window at the ships training together in space. Human destroyers flew alongside crystal ships. Biovessels practiced maneuvers with ethereal mind chips. "Because," Sarah said, "the greatest victory is not defeating your enemies. It is turning them into friends." The young cadet thought about this. But what if the galaxy had not been worth protecting? What if we had been cruel or evil? Sarah's smile faded slightly. "Then we would have done what was necessary to protect innocent life, but we hoped we would not have to." "And now?" Sarah looked at the mixed crews training together. Human and alien officers worked side by side, learning from each other, protecting each other. "Now we know we made the right choice. The galaxy is not perfect, but it is good, and good things are always worth protecting." In the distance, alarms sounded from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. Another threat had been detected approaching from outside the galaxy. But this time, the response would be different. This time, every species would work together from the beginning. The age of hidden strength was over. The age of shared responsibility